this is Sally and Richard Traveling. Hello everybody. We have a special treat today. We're in Battleground, Washington. Just a gorgeous town about 10 miles outside of Vancouver, Washington, maybe 15 miles outside of Portland, Oregon. And this is a beautiful area for recreation. If you want to own a home and have property. A little bit later, we're going to take you to Battleground State Park, which is absolutely beautiful. But we're in the older section of town today. This is where all the antique shops are and the boutiques. And then maybe in a little bit, we'll take you into the more modern section. But Battleground is really growing. Just people want to be away from the city, so they're gravitating out here into Battleground. The cost of living is slightly less than in Vancouver. So you're going to really enjoy it. So stay tuned.
In today's video, we'll be in the Pacific Northwest in Battleground, Washington. To get to Battleground, Washington, from Portland, Oregon, cross over the Columbia River, head north about 16 miles to Battleground, Washington. From there, we'll go over to Battleground Lake. Battleground Lake is a old volcanic lake with trails and campsites, and we'll take a hike around the lake. Thank you for watching. We're in downtown Battleground, Washington. This looks like the first church in Battleground. It was converted to a deli, but if you visit Mexico and the Central America, a lot of the Latin American countries, you'll see a church in the Plaza Square, and this looks like the first church for Battleground, Washington. This is the Central Park in Battleground, Washington. Battleground was first discovered in 1886 by some Europeans that landed foot in this area, and they developed this as the Central Park. As you'll see at most Latin American countries, there's a church nearby along close to the Central Park, or plaza as they call it.
Okay, we're going to go inside Nest Vintage, owned by Janelle. She's got everything here. It's a beautiful shop. There's a lot of vintage shopping in Battleground. People come from all over the world to come and see these vintage shops. So we're going to let Janelle tell us a little bit about all the things that she has accumulated to have such a gorgeous little shop here. She even sells chalk paint here. Hi, Janelle.
Hi, welcome to Nest. We have 5,000 square feet here and 50 plus vendors with everything from metal art to painted furniture and antique furniture that's not painted, something for everyone. We have all kinds of things you would find that your grandma had or back from your childhood. We have people visit from all over the country. We have a guest book here, and we've had people sign from Australia, England, California, Canada. When people are in town, they hit all of our 8 vintage shops, and there's great restaurants here. Barrel Mountain next door is awesome. The town is really has grown. I grew up here. It used to be just Old Town. Nest is an old town. Now there's 16,000 plus people, and it's always bustling busy. Our Harvest Days is coming up the 3rd weekend in July, our local fair, and this town is so busy you can't even see down the street. They shut down the street and they have a hot rod run, and it goes through the night, and it's a great place to come visit.
I find it so intriguing that you grew up here. You've had a chance to see the growth.
Yeah, I grew up there. My dad was the manager of the local feed store, and this building was John's Clothing. Came here and bought cowboy boots and western wear.
Oh, nice.
And now it's the vintage trend in town, but it's been a while. It grows, and now it's 8 stores, so it's it's been going strong for a while.
Yeah, it's cute. I love it. All the cute things in here.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. Thanks for showing us around.
Yeah.
Cherries are beginning to bloom here in Battleground as we get into early summer.
Fair enough.
We're at the church slash deli, and we decided to stop and enjoy a sandwich, and they treated us with an excellent meal here. This is a egg sandwich slash vegetarian sandwich. Sally, how's the sandwich?
It's delicious. Very good.
What kind of sandwich is this?
Well, it's a vegetarian version of egg salad.
Egg salad. Excellent. Stop by and get your sandwich at the old church in Battleground, Washington. Old Town Coffee and Deli. This is inside the old church. Had a sandwich here. Is a great place to have something to eat. Here's some paintings on a store here in Battleground, just showing some of the history in this town. Years back, cut a lot of lumber in this area, but interesting to view. If natural health is on your mind, they have the facilities here in Battleground, Washington to help you with natural health. We're going to talk to Dr. Jill Stansberry, naturopathic doctor. She's had this business here for 30 years, she says. And Dr. Stansberry, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just great, thanks. How about yourself?
Excellent. And you were telling us that you have been here for 30 years now.
I have. I began renting this place in the late 80s, and I rented it directly from the elderly retired MD who built it in the 1930s. And he lived in the home, and I rented the clinic from him before purchasing the property myself in the 90s.
And what kind of clinic do you have here?
I operate a naturopathic office. We've also had acupuncturists and other allied health physicians. This is our herbal apothecary that dispenses medicines directly to our patients, as well as is open to the public. We try to offer classes. We try to help steer people to other professionals in the area and contribute to the overall health of the community.
Excellent. And so what's the history of this facility here? Is it
Yeah, this property was part of the old original downtown Battleground, which was really just these 3 blocks or so that at the present time is referred to as Old Town. So even though the town is expanded, this was the core downtown in the 1930s. Dr. Skinner purchased somebody's farm, a little tiny corner of somebody's farm that abutted up to Main Street, and built this home that he thought was quite the palace of the era in the 30s, a really well-built home. And the back part of the property was more of rural farm pastures and agricultural land that just abutted onto Main Street. So he built a medical clinic for himself side by side with a home, and where we're standing now is actually a 1-car garage that I converted into this retail facility and this apothecary about 15-20 years ago.
now if a person has some type of ailment, they can come in here and they need to have an appointment, or can you direct them on what type of therapy they need?
Yeah, a little bit of both. If it turns out to be something complicated where there's a lot of history and a lot of medication, and it really requires a thoughtful conversation, I do try to steer people towards making an appointment. If on the other hand somebody says, I hear you've made a great tea for allergies, and what else would you say? And it's a simple matter to make some simple recommendations, we're happy to do that whenever possible. So a little bit of both.
Okay, well thank you very much for telling us about the history of Battleground and your practice here, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.
Okay. We're at Battleground Lake State Park. We're going to take a hike around the volcano. There's also camping, cabins that you can stay in, canoeing, hiking, fishing, all types of activities at the lake. And this is a trail here. Say no pets on this trail. This is a combination of a horse trail and also hiking trail. Goes around the lake. Beautiful undercover here growing. You can see there's all kinds of ferns here. Underbrush is just beautiful. Looks like there's some type of a ivy here growing. Just a beautiful area here at Battleground Lake State Park. It's about 15 miles outside of Portland, Oregon.
Hi, this is Sally and Richard traveling. We made it to Battleground Lake State Park. This is one of the most beautiful natural lakes in the state of Washington. It brings so many people here. It's a volcano that's filled with water. It's about 60 feet deep. There's actually a roller skating rink at the bottom of the volcano because at one time they had a rink out here and they wanted to close it down, and they had to basically sink it to the bottom of Battleground Lake. So today is a Saturday. We have people out kayaking, canoeing, just swimming. Evergreens line the banks of this beautiful natural lake, and the scenery is just absolutely gorgeous. As you can see, we've got cattails, we've got all kinds of nice ferns and ivy and just every kind of beautiful plant here that just grows naturally. People are fishing here, they're hiking here, just a hustle and a bustle of activity, family picnics. Okay, we're standing on the banks of the crater of Battleground Lake State Park. Again, it's a volcano. And we're just going over here to the swimming area. Lots of people out swimming and enjoying the activities today. Lots of dogs and family picnics and balls flying and frisbees going and water toys. It's a hustle and a bustle of activity, but it's not overcrowded. It's just a nice, perfect amount of people here today. And again, just a pristine, beautiful lake. This lake doesn't allow boats with motors. You can only have a non-motorized boat in this lake just to keep it beautiful and safe and clean for everybody. We love it here. Okay, we're on the Lower Lake Trail here at Battleground Lake. All the trails in the state of Washington are so well maintained. It's just a really good trail. You don't have to worry about too much growth on the trail. The trails are always nice and clean and just beautiful. Again, we've got just sword ferns and asparagus ferns, and we've got hemlock and Douglas fir and western red cedar trees. We have ivy growing. It's just the vegetation is just astounding here. And of course the trees get to be 200 feet tall. They're just beautiful. And just to think that all of this is around the crater of a volcano filled with water that creates Battleground Lake.
The name Battleground came from a battle that never happened. The U.S. Army was going to have a skirmish with the Klickitat peoples, but it never happened. And so they just called the area where the battleground was to happen. Eventually called it the city of Battleground and Battleground Lake. So that's how the name Battleground got its name. At Battleground you can rent the paddle boards, and they also have canoes that you can rent. So you don't have to bring your own boat. And it looks like they go by the hour. And we have Leo here, and he's telling us about his fish he caught at the Battleground Lake. How many fish did you catch today?
I catch 3 today, and always I catch 6 to 7 every day. And
6 or 7.
They have big fish, but today I don't have luck, so I catch 3 or 4 small.
You got 3 or 4 small fish.
Yes,
What's
sir.
the biggest you've ever caught?
Because biggest I catch 7-inch fish.
7 inches. And
Yes.
what type of fish?
It's like a rainbow trout.
Rainbow trout.
And
okay.
And really we have big fish here.
Big fish, bigger,
Yes,
huh?
bigger.
Okay. Okay, Leo, thanks for sharing
you for
your
your
story. We're on the opposite side of the lake from the beach area. This lake formed when it blew out on the inside and then was sealed off, and then rain, natural rainfall, water runoff formed the lake over thousands of years. So there's a series of volcanoes like this in the area. However, this is the prettiest and maybe one of the few that actually formed a lake. We're inside the walls of the volcano. You can see here, this is looking up, you can see some rock structure there, and then it goes on up above us here. So this is inside the actual crater. Battleground Lake is a perfectly clear lake. You can look in the water and see the fish, and along the trails have some nice stopping points where you can stop and rest, and these benches. We're on the trail here, Battleground Lake, and we have Diane and Dennis. They said they used to live in California, been in the area for 2 years now, and this is their first time around the lake. What do you think of it?
We think it's beautiful.
It's lovely. All this green around you calms you.
We actually had a reservation for a campsite here last year to test out our new tent, and we had to cancel because it rained. So, you know, accounting for rain when one's trying to camp is a new thing for us. Being from California, we're not used to having to do that.
Do you reconnaissance for that that eventual camping trip here?
Yes, they have some cabins up there too. So, yeah, you might check that out.
Sure.
Have you heard much about the history of the volcano here?
I know it's a volcano crater, but I don't know any of the history.
Okay. Well, yes, it had blown out, sealed it off. Natural water created the lake here, and then there's a series of volcanoes like this in the area, but not as beautiful as this, and may not have water in them like this.
Interesting.
So, okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for stopping. You guys have an excellent rest of the hike.
Nice
Thank
meeting you.
you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we're at the family area here for Battleground Lake State Park. This is the picnic area. They've got a great playground for the kids here, pavilions for families that want to have a large number of people underneath a covering. Again, just another beautiful part of the park. There's benches, lots of green foliage and big trees all around. Just the whole thing is beautiful. Okay, we've walked over now to the campground where you can have your camper, or you can do tent camping. You can park your cars over here. The other section was remote and you have to walk all your stuff in. But both of them are gorgeous. Again, you know, you got your sword ferns, your beautiful tall trees. It's nice and shady here. You've got every kind of foliage. And people just come from all over to stay here at Battleground Lake State Park. They do a really nice job of maintaining it and keeping it beautiful. Okay, we're still in the campground. We're walking through the cabin area here. So if you don't want to be in if you don't have an RV and you don't want to camp in a tent, you can rent a cabin. They're really nice. They usually sleep 4 people. They've got a little living area in the bedroom section. And they're quite comfortable. They've got nice futon mats inside.
Here's a shot of a western red cedar. Thing's probably 100 feet tall. And then over here we have a hemlock tree growing right next to it. And then back to the right, may or may not be able to see these, but these trunks are Douglas firs. Here's a Douglas fir here. So these are the main trees here, Douglas fir, red cedar, and then we have some vine maple growing in the area, and of course a lot of underbrush, beautiful underbrush, sword ferns, salal,